All right, fellas, 3 good topics here. We got like almost a fire round because I know some people have to leave here in like 20 minutes or so. But Databricks, big round. So they announced a $100 billion valuation round. They're doing $1 billion capital raise. Thrive, Insight Partners, A16, Z, all investing. The secondary market, I had them at 81.6 billion. So it's a little bit uptick from there, right? And they got 10,000 plus customers. It's a proper company, right? This is an AI infrastructure play. That's how I would categorize it, right? But thoughts on Databricks new round. Also thoughts on like when this company might go public. Like they've been talking about these guys going public for 2 years, I think it's been, right? So maybe Evan, we'll start with you, and then Nick, you can clean up on this guy, right? But what do you think? What do you think of Databricks?
I mean, it's an amazing company. They've been talking about going public since 21 or 22,
Yeah.
I feel like. I mean, I remember getting offers to invest around $35 billion in 22. That was right around the valuation. And they were actually considering, doing a little bit. I think the prices were a little bit lower than their actual venture round that they had done at that time. And since then, it's almost 3x, which is insane. The company's amazing. Look, at the end of the day, they're valued at this round more than almost 30% higher than Snowflake, which is pretty wild considering Snowflake's also an incredible business. But from my understanding, they are crushing it on the sales side. They are winning customers left and right. Customers love their product, incredibly high retention. They've got an amazing round of investors. I can see this company staying private for a long time, especially as they continue to invest in the CapEx side to increase the data centers for AI. Seems like a very reasonable approach to stay private, continue to take private dollars, grow the valuation, build like even stickier flywheel for AI. I'm all in on Databricks.
Right.
I'm kicking myself for not investing 4 years ago.
Well, you know what? It sounds like you're bullish. Maybe you should do it now, right?
Yeah, maybe I should.
So Nick, like, listen, $1 billion raise is not that much money relative to what other people in the world are doing these days, right? Do you think that this is just them like wanting to put a valuation stamp out there at the $100 billion mark, or like what do you think? Well, what's the logic here with just $1 billion?
That is the easiest thing to do. I know these are big numbers, but I remember there was this kid that came out in the news like 18 months ago. He sold one share of his company for some extortionate valuation. He said, "I'm the richest man in the world," or something on paper. So yes, when you're raising $1 billion on a $100 billion valuation, it could very easily attract a whole bunch of investors because there's not a lot of supply. That's really helpful. It's a little bit different than the Revolut playbook, which was let me mark up by 25% where we were on the last round, and see who comes to it. But the secondary market we are seeing as pretty reactive here, and probably for good reason. So like Evan said, it's an attractive company. They are growing faster than the closest comp, which is a Snowflake. They do now have more revenue than a Snowflake. So the revenue multiples on a Snowflake is about 18. Databricks is like a 24 from our own data in-house. But then you're seeing the bids and offers just fly out. One sudden announcement was made. So they're both up. Bids are up to about 80 billion. Offers are up to about 105 billion for valuation. But they're now wide enough apart, you could drive a bus through the spread. So usually Databricks was acting around like a 8% bid offer spread, and now it's like 30. You know, so I think the investment sentiment is, let's see how this thing shakes out, and see how well received that 100 billion valuation is going to be in the market.
I mean, I was getting some like unsolicited stuff coming across my desk at a discount to this $100 billion round, right? Which is, I think, interesting that like people are like, I mean, I'm not even asking people for quotes and they're just sending it to me at a discount. So like, what does that tell you? So it's like really compelling to me. Like this to me feels like a proper valued company. If not, it's a little bit high, like Evan was saying, right? But like, this is where it's like, if they're going to go public, like this would be this to me, doing $1 billion raise, right, is like you're kind of planting your flag in the sand that the company is worth $100 billion, and then like an IPO to follow, right? like especially since these guys have been talking about going public for so long, and now like the IPO window is open. CoreWeave just went, which is also an AI infrastructure play that did really well. I mean, like this is a time to go. If you're going to go, this would be it, right? This would be the time to go. You know what I mean?
So why wouldn't you just go right now, right? So I think the 100 starts to put, your game of connect the dots with the
Wait a second, you're saying go do the IPO before the 100, or do the 100 and then the IPO?
I personally think they're doing the right thing, but to your point, why wouldn't you just go now? So I do believe they want to put that optic. It's a very clear optic number. It's 100 billion. Line in the sand. They stamp it out there. Everybody understands that is the valuation, and people start to buy into it, even if it was just like 1% of the company transacting here. But then they could also use that number when they're trying to reposition the cap table too. So coming into an IPO, oftentimes it's very smart to have your traditional asset managers step in and start to replace the VCs. So getting some of the VCs out, despite all the names, the Insights and Thrives of the world, A16Zs that have come in, but you want to have folks like Fidelity, BlackRock, T. Rowe Price on the cap table coming into that IPO as well.
Yeah.
So now you've got a nice number that people can point to and say, okay, if we're going to move things around, we can move things around at 100 billion. Is everyone comfortable with that? Oh yeah, we were oversubscribed at 100 billion.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. So I think there are a number of smart and clever ways to do it. And even though I think they could IPO right now and do great, this probably helps build conviction and support for when they do the IPO down the road.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Go ahead.
Just to add, I do think that, Sam Altman has talked about this a bit from the OpenAI perspective. There's just such an advantage to being private in a market that requires a lot of spending of CapEx. And so, when their number one competitor, Snowflake, every single month, every single quarter, they're doing audited financials, every single quarter, they're doing reporting, everything is being scrutinized. Being private, especially in this AI boom where you need to invest in the infrastructure side so heavily, there's probably a big advantage to staying private and not having to deal with the scrutiny and the effort required to being a public company at this stage.
So you're thinking they're going to stay private for even longer now? No IPO in the future? What do you think?
I mean, I kind of agree with your point, which is that if they were to go, this seems like the right time. So why would you raise $1 billion now at 100 billion if you're going to go soon, unless you needed the cash? So it just seems a little bit like, well, maybe they will stay for a private.
Well, it could also be just bragging rights. I mean, it's rarefied air to have $100 billion private company, right? Growth company. So you never know. Maybe that's all.
And I don't think they need the money, right? This is if you needed the money, you were going to take in 5.
Exactly.
Why would you take in 1?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's such an interesting number. It's like, or it's just like you had a group of investors that wanted to get in and you didn't really want to take their money. So you're like, just, like doing it for them. You know what I mean? Okay, fine. We'll get you in. It's like one of those things. But like,
I put my conspiracy hat on with saying like,
what are
the investors are like, hey, do you mind if you do a round so that we can mark up our book?
Yeah.
You know what? You're not wrong.
Your words, not ours. Yeah.
You're not wrong. I mean, this is like, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Okay, guys, let's talk about Canva. So Canva is doing a tender at a $42 billion valuation. So Canva's like, graphic design for the everyday man, right? And they're starting to use more and more AI in their solution too. So it's almost becoming like an AI, kind of AI app, if you will, if you want to think about it in those terms. But Fidelity's getting in, JP Morgan's getting in, Nick, to your point earlier, right? They're getting some kind of, cornerstone shareholders on the books here. They got 200 million monthly active users. 2024 revenue is 2.5 billion. It's up 50% year over year, right? User base is 90% of the Fortune 500. That's nuts, right? So the secondary market, I had them at 40.6 billion kind of pre-announcement. So it's pretty much like right there, right where they did the tender, which I would have to think the secondary market was kind of impacting this tender valuation, right? But Nick, maybe we'll start with you this time, man. Like, what do you think? What do you think of Canva? What do you think about the valuation? Maybe just as it relates to the secondary. It seems like secondary market was influencing the primary market here with the tender. What are your thoughts?
Sure. I mean, I think Canva is a great company. If we were to put the comp out there, it's not a perfect comp, knowing the business is a little bit more deeply, but a Figma was
Yeah.
trading at like a 14x, Canva's at a 12. Um, I would, if I were an employee, I would take it. I'd be really happy with that. Um, I I just don't know that the long-term value on Canva is gonna continue at that pace, or it's a justifiable valuation. But
Mm-hmm.
that's just more of my sentiment on the company and where it's headed as a whole.
Yeah.
Might be a tough pill to swallow for an IPO. Um, but yeah, it's been a stellar one to watch over a long period of time.
Well, I mean, like, so Canva's not an AI, like an AI company. And all the buzz, right, Evan, is like AI. Everything's AI these days. Either AI infrastructure, AI platforms, right? AI specific. I mean, they're starting to add more AI into their solution. But to Nick's point, it's like firmly a SaaS business, right? So, I mean, what do you think? What do you think about Canva? Like, can you play this as an AI play, or is this, or is like how do you think about it?
I think you could definitely play it as an AI play. At the end of the day, there's the opportunity for distribution. They have 200
Mm-hmm.
million monthly actives, as you said. They have very loyal customer base. Their product is really great. I think that the jury is still out on what the user interface in which most people will interact with AI over time. I do feel like they have headwinds in the competition because,
Mm-hmm.
with AI, it does allow other competitors to come in. It does question whether or not the UX of, a Canva or a Figma is the future versus, generative speaking to it, et cetera.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, for I think you can definitely make the AI story, because at the end of the day, they have a massive distribution towards the consumer, toward like as you said, like the every person sort of
Mm-hmm.
user, and those people are still exploring AI. They haven't made their decision yet of where they're going to work, like what they're going to use,
Right.
and we're still so early in the AI cycle that it's unclear, like the killer feature that AI will generate for images and things like that. So
Right. Right.
I think that there's a story you can play there. I kind of agree with Nick that I mean, if you're an employee, taking it right now is probably something to consider, because I don't know if the growth trajectory will continue at the pace that it has, but there's no reason to go against it right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like, you're not wrong. Like 200 million monthly active users is no joke. That's a lot of people. And it's almost like
Yeah.
theirs to lose, right? Like if they can continue to innovate on the product side, integrate more AI, and kind of be that, at least stay on par with other solutions that might be hitting the marketplace, or even, hopefully like deliver better products and services as it relates to AI, and make it even easier for people to create like beautiful things, right? Marketing content, etc. Then it would stand to say like they would continue to grow. I mean, the brand's great, right?
Yeah, so I feel that some of the generative AI magic is most applicable to businesses, or to customers who want a magic experience. They're like the
Mm-hmm.
professional world, like Figma, they're used to being in the details. They're used to wanting exactly what they want. But I can see a lot of
Right.
customers at Canva who are just like, look, I really want to generate wedding invitations. I'm not an
Right. Yeah.
expert
Right.
designer. And so
Right. Right.
AI
Right. Right.
creates the opportunity for a very magic experience, for
Mm-hmm.
the prosumer or the consumer.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot. I think that their target audience is very much going to be happy with generative AI when it gets integrated, or as it's being integrated. The one thing I will say about their numbers here that I do get a little, you know, eyebrowy about, is that they're a freemium product. And so, 200 million monthly active users, it doesn't require a lot of effort to just log into the platform once. 90% of Fortune 500 companies, how many of them are paying? How many of them are paying like massively? I do wonder, when you have a freemium product, if the numbers are as strong as, say, something like a Databricks, or like a
Mm.
paid wall only company for
Mm.
SaaS.
Mm. Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, this company is this company's interesting. I mean, it's an Australian business, right? Which I don't think that's like good or bad as it relates to the investment opportunity. But yeah, I just don't know how I feel. Like now, like I got to tell you guys, like how I feel about AI apps. Like I'm like on the fence about AI apps, right? And I think this is kind of quickly becoming an AI app, which might be telling too, because if the whole world's going to become like AI first, you got all these legacy businesses that have to make that shift, right? But like it stands to reason that they could still be winners in this kind of post AI app world or AI first world. But they got to make that switch. I will give Canva this though; they're definitely doing it. They're definitely doing AI. Like every new product and solution they're coming out with is AI first, right? So it'd be interesting to see how these guys play out. But all right, let's hit this last topic real quick, fellas. So 8 Sleep just raised $100 million at a $1.5 billion valuation. So the reason I put this on here, okay, is because yours truly is now a man of a certain age, and I am having a very hard time sleeping through the night. So I have started to obsess about sleep, okay? I mean, I'm like totally geeking out. I got like different sound machine things, like eye masks. I was never an eye mask guy. For those that haven't met me in person, I'm a 6'4" guy, right? Like 220 pounds. Wouldn't probably sit, put eye mask on a person like that, right? I'm doing it. Like I'm trying anything. 8 Sleep
Blackout curtains.
Blackout curtains for sure. All of it, man. I got like different mattress. Like I still can't. I don't know what's going on, right? So this 8 Sleep thing is like AI folk. For those that don't know, you put this thing over your mattress. Now they got one with a blanket. There's this thing like this machine that sits next to the bed. It controls the temperature. There's like AI involved. It like totally dials it in so that you can effectively have better sleep at night, right? I'm like fascinated by this. My question to you guys, do you have one? Have you tried it? I'm dying to get your opinion. What do you got?
Start with Evan on this. I think he's got more background.
Yeah, I mean, I told you before this, but I mean, I've known this company for a very, very long time. When they were just getting started, they were called, they weren't even called 8 Sleep at the time. They've iterated on this product for more than 12 years now. I was involved very, very early on and helping, get them started. I have used the product. I'm not the best customer because I can literally sleep anywhere. I could sleep on the floor of the subway. So I'm not that, target customer. I've used the product a few times. I think it's pretty interesting. I have a lot of friends that do use it. I think the reviews have been quasi mixed, but people really like it. At the end of the day, as we've seen, a substantial interest in longevity and health metric tracking, having a sleep wearable that, tracks your sleep, tracks your quality of sleep, provides, benefits to help you sleep longer and more effectively and deeper. It's attracting a very specific customer, and they're doing a great job of winning that market. So they've raised a lot of money, a good amount of money over the past several years. I'm not an investor, full disclosure, but wish I was. But I do love the founders, Alex and Matteo. And I think that the product is, if you are the person that is interested in tracking your sleep, which remember, most humans spend 50% of their life in bed sleeping, it's probably worth exploring this product.
Right. Okay, Nick, how do you sleep, and what do you think of the product and the company?
I'm probably closer to Evan. Sleep routine. I could take a power nap at 9 o'clock for 20 minutes, wake up and go until whatever hour, and then fall back asleep, no problem. So maybe this isn't for me, but I am prior to us hitting record on this. I was asking about the wearables and certain aspects of it's just becoming so integrated in our life that we like assistance, or we like actually understanding the metrics around how we operate.
That's right.
Whether it's a watch, a Whoop, a mattress, or what have you. And if it's a quarter of your life, spend the money. Think about how Casper came out of nowhere, Avocado came out of nowhere. This is a different product, and it's pretty novel compared to anything else that's out there, because I've at least heard of this. It's very well marketed. I don't know about the reviews, as Evan was saying. Some of them are mixed, but I think they had 500,000 users. That's a lot, to start, and then
for a $3,000 product.
It's the new one's 4,900. because I was
But
just looking at it last night.
But if you could think of a world where maybe that price stays steady or even comes down, you do the Henry Ford approach. You could see a lot of people coming out with this. Everyone that poo-pooed the iPad or the Apple Watch, now they're all wearing them. I mean, that's what I was talking about prior to this podcast. So yeah, I think this is just a good product. I can't really speak to the valuation because it's so small relative to a lot of the other companies that we have, and I would deem it as hardware, and we don't actually do a lot of hardware. It's like a combination of hardware and SaaS, I guess, and analytics, right?
Right.
But I'm intrigued. Like, I'm very interested in how they're going to perform. So we will definitely have this on our radar to watch.
It's interesting, right, guys? Because to your point, Nick, like there's like Whoop, there's Oura Ring, there's Function Health, which is that's a little different, right? Because they're taking your blood work and everything multiple times a year and doing MRIs and stuff like that. But I think along the same lines, like data, right? You're getting like health data, on your person. This I think falls into that same bucket.
This is cool because you could also calibrate it. So instead of there's a feedback loop, right? So with the Whoop, it's like, hey, your heart rate's going really fast, but I'm not going to regulate it for you. And this, it will say you're overheating. I'm going to cool you down or something, right?
Yeah.
So
well, I mean, like, so I'm a Whoop guy, right?
Yeah.
But I use it for like tracking calories burned during the day, the number of hours slept, which would be, of course, same thing as an 8 sleep. But I think, for me, I can track how many hours I sleep, but the Whoop certainly doesn't help me sleep more hours or better sleep, right? Which I think,
correct.
This, to your point, Nick, would do. But like, it's kind of compelling. I'm of the opinion that in the next several years, we're going to start to see devices where it's like recording everything that you say and hear and see, right? For an AI assistant to be able to,
all about
help you manage
an agent.
Yeah, but this is what this
now,
is.
But
I think parts of this is that.
Yeah. So when you've had a bad night's sleep, now your 8 sleep is going to talk to your AI agent, your 25-year-old person at the office that's fake. And they're going to say, Aaron had a rough night's sleep. Go easy on him today. Oh, and maybe the agent will be nicer to you,
Nick,
right?
It's going to be like, hey, let's cancel this meeting because it's really not that important, so you can take a nap. And like, hey, maybe you should eat this food instead, because you were a little bit, under whatever, like you had too much to drink last night or whatever. Like, whatever it is, it's going to be this like proactive feedback loop. Right? Because all the data is available. That's the key thing. Whether it's Whoop, 8 Sleep, Oura Ring, Function Health, whatever, like the data is available for the AI to like proactively start to help you like more easily manage your health, I guess.
Where
I'm going with it.
Evan, it's funny. I was with Aaron and he went to pick up a Twinkie and his Whoop had a gravitational pull and just smashed the Twinkie on
electric
the floor.
shock, right?
No, but that's a very cool concept, Aaron.
I'm a big Twinkie guy. Yeah.
Those devices speaking to each other, that's next level.
We're going there. I'm telling you, we're definitely going to this kind of like centralized thing with all of your data, right? With some AI
I think the data tracking, whether you're using a Whoop or an Oura Ring or an 8 Sleep for your sleep, is interesting for those who are interested in longevity and biohacking. I do think separately, beyond the biohacking, people want to sleep well. And Aaron, if you're one of those people that doesn't sleep well, temperature control, climate control in the bed, people like to sleep cold or hot. Those are nice benefits that apply to, I would say, a substantially broader audience than the biohacker that just wants to track their like rapid cycle.
If you're sleeping in a bed with a spouse or whatever, significant other, and they have a different desired temperature than you, then this could solve for that, pretty quickly, right? So,
absolutely. The inverse, is that if you travel a lot, it will make it's like flying first class. It's like once you do it, you can't go back.
No, that's what it is. I used to be like you guys, right? And I could sleep through anything. In fact, I never even had shades or blinds on my window. Just like let the sun come in. I had no issues. And then I got married, and my wife is like blackout shades, sound machines, like everything, like all the stars have to align, and then now we can have a perfect night's sleep, right? And so now I'm just soft, man. I don't know how else to say it. I'm just totally soft. Plus I also have the problem, like I was averaging like 4 hours a night. Like and I can function. So like and it's just not healthy. I don't think to sleep 4 hours a night, even if you're okay and you can get through the day. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to ratchet that up. But anyway, enough about that. No one cares about my sleep patterns. Listen, this was fun. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for the
Thank
time
you,
this
man.
week. All right.